Hi, Molly here. I've had a wonderful experience in Fromm class so far this semester, and I'm going to share with you some of the things we've discussed that have stood out to me the most. After starting with some exploration of who Erich Fromm was, a 20th century German psychologist, to put it simply, we asked the question, what is love? We came up with all sorts of answers, but some common themes were that love is about connection, and finding something for which you sacrifice other parts of your life. What we can settle on is that love is something that softens the edges of the box in which our ego is trapped. We then discussed the having versus being modes of loving. Fromm says that love in the mode of having means confining, imprisoning, or controlling the object one thinks one loves. What people call love is mostly a misuse of the word in order to hide the reality of their not loving. It's sad how strongly this struck a chord with me because I think I see it everywhere. Someone in the having mode of loving actually loves a projection of themselves. They do not really know the person they think they love. You cannot really know someone until you respect them for who they really are, not who you think they are from a first impression. Fromm says that there exists only the act of loving, which implies caring for, knowing, responding, affirming the thing or person that one loves. This kind of love is loving in the being mode. Love brings with it aliveness. These having and being modes also exist in learning. A student in the having mode will come to class with the goal of obtaining knowledge to pass a test, and then moving on. A student in the being mode will come to class ready for a learning experience. When listening to a lecture in the being mode, you should have no idea of yourself. It can be frustrating to get yourself there, though, so try telling yourself these things before a class to help yourself be present. I believe in myself. I believe in what I'm learning. I believe in the person who is teaching me. Wow, think how this would change the experience of going to school. Now, switching gears a bit, I'd like to mention some things that have stood out to me from Erich Fromm's most popular book, The Art of Loving. I came across this quote in my reading. People want to conform to a much higher degree than they are forced to conform, especially in the Western democracies. Doesn't this seem strange? Our culture generally views conformity as a bad thing, as something to be avoided. We're always recognizing people who stand out from the crowd. In situations where conformity is obvious, like some high school or college cultures, we put it under the cozy label of fitting in. The reality is that conformity is constantly being forced on us. But the idea that we actually want to conform seems strange. Except it doesn't. Fromm says we conform to escape the frightening experience of aloneness. Well, it makes sense. It only seems strange because we're trained to resist the idea of conformity so strongly that we are blind to it in ourselves. We've also listened to some talks and guided meditations by the renowned meditation teacher and scholar Reginald Ray as a class. Just a few days ago, he said some things that I think could make a profound difference on how I view my life. I first connected with the fact that he called his life a project. Doesn't that make sense? Life is a project. It's difficult and time-consuming and needs work put into it to be good. He said that in the projects of our lives, our true selves, our inner consciousness, is protected inside layers of restrictions. When we start to access this consciousness through activities like meditation, emotions like fear and anxiety are let loose. Thus, they are a sign that we are reaching something bigger than ourselves. Fear is an intelligent emotion, he says. Please do not think that anxiety means there's something wrong. And the biggest realization for me, anxiety is the beginning of waking up. What? 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 I came across this quote in The Art of Loving, which I think sums up an essential question, if you will, for the course, and for my current state of mind. How should a man caught in this net of routine not forget that he is a man, a unique individual, one who is given only this one chance of living, with hopes and disappointments, with sorrow and fear, with the longing for love and the dread of the nothing and of separateness? I wrote this question in my journal and took some time over the next couple of days to jot down ideas, concepts, or activities that might help me answer it. If answering this question is what I'm anxious about, I think that's a worthy cause. So what answers do you have to that question? How do you keep yourself from forgetting that you are unique and full of emotions?